Hi, this is Jon Bruney from Swagger Strength, and we are excited today to have a chance to interview what I would call one of the toughest men on the planet, Mike Gillette. Now, Mike is a security expert. He holds several black belt titles, which I'll ask him about in a moment. And this is just a chance for you guys out there to really be able to soak in some good strength training wisdom today, and just some special insights into the iron game. And so we hope you enjoy this interview. We're just going to sit around with some cold beverages here and have some interview time. So I want to introduce Mike Gillette to you. And Mike, can you tell us a little bit? I know it may feel like when you do this that you're bragging, and he's not in any way, but just give us a little bit of your credentials and your background and some of the things you've been involved with from the martial arts all the way to becoming a modern-day performing strongman.
Sure, John. My professional background really started off in the military. Spent a couple of years in the 82nd Airborne, and had every intention of continuing on in the military as a career. And had an ROTC scholarship, University of Arizona, and the tail end of my first semester there was involved in a climbing accident that was sufficient to put me out of the military at that point. Broke my back, both my ankles, and rehabbing from that was pretty arduous and was not guaranteed at the time. I was able to get back on my feet physically, and from there got involved in law enforcement and was a law enforcement officer for about 12 years. Concurrent with my law enforcement time, I became very involved in training, primarily in what are referred to as use of force topics, which is everything from how to talk to people in crisis to empty hand skills, various weapon systems, firearms, all of that type of thing. And got involved in SWAT operations and so on, and left law enforcement in 2001. 2001, became involved in training full-time. I was a director of training for the National Law Enforcement Security Institute. This was several months before 9/11, and 9/11 had a lot to do with the trajectory of my career after that, and got involved heavily post 9/11 with the airline industry, with the entertainment industry, developing training programs for a number of large companies. And that took me well out of the Midwest, which is where I had been up to that point, out to Las Vegas. And in Las Vegas, more consulting projects followed, and that's actually where I got involved in executive protection, working for a company that does a lot of consulting executive protection operations for a lot of software CEOs and that kind of thing, both in the United States as well as abroad. As far as the martial arts concerned, I got involved in martial arts back in '81 before I got into the military, and as far as arts that I'm actually ranked in, I have instructor credentials in Jeet Kune Do, I have a 4th degree black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, 3rd degree black belt in Kempo, 2nd degree black belt in Filipino Arnis. And so a fairly broad-based background, but anyone who's been involved in the arts for a long time will tell you that the more you're in it, the more everything starts to actually be the same. The good material is always the good material. And it wasn't until about a year and a half ago that I actually got involved in feats of strength, being able to be exposed to that by some of the best people in the game, yourself included. And that's just been a phenomenal thing, because I actually was drawn to that, not in terms of being able to perform feats of strength, because I just thought that was way beyond my capability, but I was interested in figuring out how all of those guys train, because as a smaller guy, as an older guy, in a younger and bigger man's game, I'm always looking for whatever physical edge I can get. So it was the training methodology behind all of that led me to it, but once I saw it and I received some encouragement from some prominent people, that was really all I needed, and it's just been crazy ever since.
That's awesome. So if you heard, Mike's one of those guys that, you don't want to cross him, because he could mess you up, but he wouldn't, because he's one of the nicest guys too that you ever want to meet. But with Mike, one of the things I would like to ask, because I know there's a lot of people out there watching and just saying, I'm just getting started, or I've seen Mike, I've seen you roll a frying pan, or I've seen you crush a stack of bricks. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who is just beginning their athletic career? Somebody who's just getting into, maybe got inspired by watching some of your strongman stunts, what's some advice you would give to just several different groups? First, the young person who's first getting their start, and then maybe address too those who maybe have been out of the game for a while and are afraid, hey, is this something I can really do? Is this something I can step into? Kind of give both perspectives, your wisdom and your advice to the novice trainer as well as to the one who maybe has been out for a while and wonders, is this something I could do?
Well, regardless if we're talking about aspiring competitive athletes, younger or older, or if we're just talking about people that want to get in shape, the key for me, because growing up I was very small, non-athletic, and it wasn't until I really made a focused pursuit out of pursuing strength that other things began to fall into place. And a lot of people don't necessarily think in terms of training for strength. They think in terms of either training for conditioning, aerobic conditioning, that kind of thing, or they think about the cosmetic or the visual side of training. I want to get all big and buffed out. And training for performance will give you a lot of those other things, and it will give you the one thing that those other pursuits don't give you, which is the ability to perform. Strength training, which is heavy resistance training, is great for everybody. Young people, very old people, studies bear this out continually, that you can increase your muscular strength, the resilience of your connective tissues, bone density, all of those things. And you may not be able to become a big imposing figure, but you can always become stronger. I'll never get big, but I can continue, even at my age, to improve my strength.
Which is awesome. Mike has some really unique training ideas and is involved in a lot of different things. With that training in mind, and you've had a chance to tour the Swagger facility and see some of the products that we offer, what would you say, or what would you say might be a productive piece of equipment that might be out there that Swagger offers for maybe the up-and-coming strongman or martial artist?
Well, I think that if we boil it down to people need to be strong, they need to be strong in all directions, not just like a bench press position, for example. And what I'm really excited about are the clubs and the mace products that Swagger has, particularly the ability to variably load those. And I've been using clubs for a while now, and they've been great in terms of being kind to my joints, which have been badly abused over the years, but also in terms of the types of extreme physical things that I do now. You mentioned the breaking and so forth. The clubs, the maces have been instrumental, absolutely essential for me to develop strength and mobility in the extreme ranges of the motions that are necessary in order to generate the requisite amount of power in order to do those types of feats. And the nice thing about the clubs are they're portable. Males can use them, females can use them, vary the load. And the importance of being strong in all directions is the thing that people simply won't get from conventional gym equipment. And I think it's very exciting. I have to tell you the other thing that I'm really excited about, and every time I show it to somebody, they get excited too, and that is the swiper, the velocity swiper. And I think one of the things that people get excited about is it's an example of how the paradigm of conditioning training is changing. The research has been out there for a while, but the marketplace and the public at large, I don't think have kept up with that. And the ability to work in a cardiovascular sense, an aerobic sense, in some way that isn't a stationary bike, that isn't a treadmill, that isn't running, and particularly because it also taxes the types of muscle groups that are applicable to like your mixed martial artists, and I show a lot of MMA enthusiasts that product, and you get really excited really quickly because it's effective and it's a small break. It's absolutely a killer.